I love paperback junk journals and I have made quite a few on this channel. So today let's make a grungy fabric covered paperback junk journal cover. Welcome, it's Barbara from Vienna, Austria. So I've made many paperback junk journals in the past. Here are two of the fabric covered ones that I love. This is one that I have made using a lot of children's book images. I adore this one. I have a video or several videos, I think, of how I made this, and I will link those below for you. And this one here is the biggest one I've ever made. It's my urban nature junk journal that I made with all the ephemerember I made. So all the ephemera I made during December. And so, yeah, that's what that looks like inside. But today I want to make one inspired by two journals that I did not make myself. And if you know my channel, then you definitely know both of these beauties. So this one here is made by lovely Nadia from Art Alalai. This is the one I use for my Sunday junk journal snacks. It is bursting to the seams. And then this one is made by my wonderful friend Honey, who is Honey Loves Paper on Instagram. I will link both of their Instagrams for you below. And this one here has this flap. I think they both have sort of a similar style, kind of. Similar colors for sure. And I just love both of them to bits. I get asked about these journals a lot, and the problem is that Nadia does sell these, but I think she has a really long waiting list for these. I think you have to wait a few months at least. So you're welcome to check with her on Instagram to see what her waiting time is now for these. And Honey, who made this one, does not sell these. So this was something special that I was able to get, and I am super, super grateful and in love and everything. So let's make one of our own. As always, I'm going to use a grocery bag. These are the kind of paper bags that we get here in Austria. We do pay for them, and they have a great size to work with. As always, I'm going to start off by cutting off these handles. You can reattach these to your cover later, which looks really cute. I've done that in a couple of journals. You can see an example right here. This was one that I have just painted. And then we just take apart this bottom here. Like that. So we have this now, which is a bit big, but if we consider that we still need a spine, let me take this one as a guide. Just wondering if we should try a wraparound version. If I have enough paper bag. Yeah, it should work. Do I want to try that? Why not, actually? Okay, let's try a wraparound version. Decision is made. So unfortunately, I have torn this part here. So I'm going to lose some of this width. So I'm going to cut it right here. And since I don't want my journal cover to be this tall, I'm going to cut about 1 inch from the top and 1 inch from the bottom. And that means that these sides are now going to come off as well, which we don't need. So So now I have these 2 layers of the paper bag left. Let me give you the measurements, just in case you want to know. So in inches, we have approximately 21¼ inches by 10½ inches. In centimeters, we have roughly 54 centimeters by 27 centimeters. Next, I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and sew around all of the edges once. If you don't want to use a sewing machine, you just glue them together. I'm just going to use some paper clips to hold the 2 pieces in place while I sew. So now I have this piece, and if you see that it's wonky somewhere, like here for example, I didn't cut straight, I can just adjust that now. Yep, that should work fine. If you don't want to use fabric now, you could just paint your cover. I found this beautiful hand-stitched tablecloth at a flea market. It has a stain that won't come out, and I've already started cutting into it for other projects. So this is what I want to use as my base. So I'm going to cut out a piece, and then I'm going to dye it with coffee. But I think it makes sense to first decide on all the pieces I want to add and then dye all of those at once. I think it makes sense to figure out all the pieces I want to add to my cover first and then dye all of them at once. I think it would be cute to have this edge here on the edge of my journal. So I'm going to cut it to work that way. So I'll cut a long strip like this to cover the whole paper bag, but I'll cut this top part off. Oh no, that wasn't supposed to happen. That tore the wrong way. Oh no. That was not smart, Barbara. Thankfully, I have another edge, so hopefully I will do this smarter now. I'm cutting it, or I'm tearing it, so that I have a little sticking out from the paper bag. And by the way, I just want to show you, look how cute this has already been mended once. That's adorable. And then I cut a second piece, the same size as the first piece. This is going to be on my inside cover. So if we do this wraparound technique, this is going to go around like this. And then we have the front flap like this, and we have a lot of room for the signatures like this. So now we can think about what else we can add to this cover. I have these pieces here, which I cut out from a blouse that I found a few years ago at the flea market. It has the exact same colors. It might be completely too much. I don't know yet. I have this doily that I found at my Goodwill for €4. And I've already cut into it. But maybe we can cut the half off and then place that around like this. That could be cute. Let's first cut this one because I'm pretty sure I want to use this. I just took some large paper clips and secured this first layer of fabric onto the paper bag because it was moving so much it was driving me crazy. Then I found some white butterflies, which I will also be dyeing. And I have this label. This was from a subscription box. So let's see if we can place these somehow. Maybe a smaller and a larger butterfly. where do we want the label? The label could either go up here or smack in the middle, or maybe even down here. This I think would work. I do have to keep in mind that I will be adding a closure here. So maybe I'd want to place that a little more towards the inside. Yeah, I kind of like this already, but let's try another option. That would also be cute. Yeah, I think I might go with this option. Since I have more of these, I found these locally in a store. They are just thin paper butterflies. I'm going to double them up to make them a little more sturdy since this is a cover. Yeah, so I'll just glue these on top of each other. I found a third one of the small ones, so I'm going to have 3 layers for that. And I'm going to brush on some tacky glue. I also want to add a piece of fabric underneath this label. I have this strip here, and I'm not sure if I want to keep this border or not. What do you think? Let's first cut it. I can't decide, is it too much or not? No, actually, I think it's okay with the border. Okay, we'll leave that on. So I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and stitch around this. Okay, so I stitched around it once. You can hardly see it. I stitched around the border that it had with a small straight stitch with some blue thread to match this color here. I'm also going to need some ties for the closure. So I'm going to stick to the same material. I have long pieces left, so I'm going to cut out 2 strips. Or you could do what Honey did. She has 2 beautiful ribbons. I'm not sure if she tore these herself or not. They seem like a beautiful silk almost. And she used 2 different colors, which is super cute. And obviously she made them match with the colors of the cover. This here matches the stitching that she has. Super cute. It still kind of seems too plain for me, so I want to play around with some more fabric pieces and see if I can come up with some more interesting layering here. Okay, I don't know if this is going to be the final cover. I know it looks very busy. I think it will look different once it is coffee dyed. So I'm going to dye all these pieces along with a few more of these, just in case I want to play around with some more. And then I'm also thinking for the inside flap, maybe I want to add a border like this as well. I think that would look cute. So I'm going to dye another piece. And before I take this apart, I'm going to take a photo with my iPad to make sure I remember this. So I laid all the pieces on some newspaper on my floor. This is my living room floor. And I'm just going to spray it with my coffee mixture that I use for dyeing papers. And I realized that these doilies, that there is a piece missing. You see that? I didn't see that when I had it on the cover. So I'm going to dye this piece as well, and maybe I will piece them together somehow. Although I do realize it's actually, I would have to turn that one around. I will make that decision later. All of my pieces are air dried, so I can continue working with them now. And I think for this one, what I'm going to do is just cut this down like this rather than trying to piece the pieces together. I think this will be the better option. I'm going to add my inside fabric first, and I'm going to glue it on, not all the way out until the edge because I do want to sew it, but I will glue it in the middle. And I will use my brush because I don't want any blobs to come through the fabric. Again, if you don't want to sew yours, then just be sure to glue it down really well all the way until the edges. You could also hand stitch it around, which would be beautiful. So I'm going to take this to my sewing machine. Again, I chose the blue thread to stitch around it to match the stitch here. I could have also, of course, made it more invisible using a cream white thread. And now I want to cut away some of the excess on the sides. Especially here, there's too much. So now let's add the front cover pieces. And we said we wanted to add this piece here potentially. Maybe better underneath. Yeah, I think that's cute. Okay, so this is stitched on. I'm super happy with how this turned out. Let's put on all the other pieces and see how that looks now. Maybe change a few things if we're not happy with something. I'm not sure about this piece. I might just leave that one off. Now, if I remembered how the rest was, I'm challenging myself to do this without looking at the photo that I took. I'm not happy with these butterflies yet, but besides that, I think I am happy with this. And maybe I'll add another piece then on the back side to just make it go better with the front. Okay, I'll worry about the butterflies in the next step. What do I do? I think I'm going to stitch these pieces on before I mount the cover, meaning I will pin these down. I love my little needle tin. I've had him since I was in school. He's just so cute. Okay, I'm going to pin all of these down. So now I can turn it around and we can have a look what to put on the back, if anything. Maybe just the smaller pieces. We want something going kind of over the spine, maybe. Okay, this is it. I don't know why this is so hard. I'm happy with this. Okay, I'm gonna pin this down and then I'm going to take the fabric off again and just sew all of the bits onto the fabric. I did it. If you are like me, not the most experienced sewer, then all you do to hide your wonky lines is to just go over it twice to make it look whimsical and fun, and nobody will ever know that you didn't want to make wonky lines. So it kind of looks like a little patchwork design now. So I'm going to turn this around, and then we're going to put glue on this side, and then turn it around. Nope. Yeah, turn it around like this and glue that on. Okay, so I've stitched around it twice, just like with these squares. I first stitched around it from the inside because I wasn't sure where the border was. I couldn't see that from the outside. And then once I had that, I had my one line of stitching, and then I just turned it around and stitched it from this side with like a wonky stitch. I'm super happy with how this came out. This is the first time ever doing something like this. And if you have a sewing machine but you're intimidated by it, I will link a video from my friend Maud in the Netherlands, who's an expert, and she gives you a lot of really great tips on how to work with your sewing machine for junk journals. So have a look at that. And I already realized there's one thing I forgot. I wanted to sew these butterflies on as well, like just stitch through the middle. Of course, that would have been nicer before I would have sewn this on so that it doesn't go through to this side, but I don't think it's a big deal. I think it will be fine. Okay, I need to figure out what to do with these butterflies because they look very boring to me. I don't have any Distress ink or oxide in this color because this is a color I actually never use. But I do have watercolors. This is a mixture of Van Gogh and Winsor & Newton. And I have these two blues. And I think I might mix these two and see what happens. Let's spray them with water. And then let's move them. And we'll see what they look like when they dry. Now I think these look pretty groovy already, but I am going to go around them with my walnut stain Distress oxide, and I might also do some stamping on them. I'm going to add some numbers from this wonderful collection, Field Notes CMS 396. If you have like a regular alphabet and number stamp, you can of course just make your own numbers. I'm using my Jet Black Ranger archival ink. So now I stitched on the middle with a zigzag stitch like that. So I went right through the cover, but my sewing machine did struggle a little bit. So definitely think of that before you glue and sew your cover on. Now, when I look at this, I see an imbalance. Maybe you know I like to work in threes, and I feel like this blue missing here. Now, I don't want to add another butterfly because, first of all, I don't have any more. And second of all, I just think it would be too overloaded. But I do want to have this same blue down here as well. So that means we're just going to take some more of this watercolor and add that right onto the cover. I've never done that either, so fingers crossed this is not going to look really stupid now. So I need it somewhere here. Let's just do this. Then spray immediately because I don't just want a dot. That will change a little bit. I think it'll get a little lighter once it's dry. But you see now we have this, and this seems more balanced to me. And to balance it out still, I think I not need to, do I need to? Maybe I don't need to. I was gonna say I'd like to add some to the back. Maybe I should. Because what I'm trying to do is make this look more artsy. I don't just want it to look like a sewn cover. I want it to look like an art journal or a junk journal cover. Otherwise, I think the butterflies don't really work. They seem out of place. Okay, that was not smart. Because I kind of put them all in one line. What am I thinking? It's really challenging to talk, worry about what you're filming, that you're on camera, and to think at the same time. And I will do the same thing here. And I guess I also need to do it on the inside so that the inside goes with the outside. Actually, it's coming through here anyway, so that's great. I'm almost thinking I should have done something else. I should have dripped the watercolor on here. And I also don't know if these are gonna turn into weird spots once they dry. We'll see. Okay, I'm gonna try this differently. I'm going to add some here. And then spray this and let this drip on the cover. I think that's better. Yep, that would have been better from the beginning. Well, we learn, don't we? Yep, these spots look a lot better. I'll add a few more of those to the front as well. And I also feel like now I need to add some to our ribbons to make them go with everything else. And in case you're astonished how much water this tiny mister has, I do fill it up in between. No, you don't see that. Okay, so it's somewhat dry yet. Well, it's actually still pretty damp, these as well, but I think they're good enough to work with. Now, I realize that some of you will consider this ruined since I added the color, and that's okay. We all have different tastes. This is quite new for me as well. I do like how artsy it looks now. Obviously, you can just skip that part. And now we need to add the closure. So let's look again at what Honey did. Honey made a hole here, added a big eyelet, and then attached the ribbons by putting them through a bead which is large enough not to go through the eyelet, and that way you just hang here. And then she put another eyelet here, did the same thing with the bead and attached ribbons, and then this just closes like this and you just tie it up like that. So I happen to have some of these large eyelets as well. If I can, I will link them for you. I will do my best to find them. I got mine in a package, or I think it was, these are I think 3 packages, and they come in mixed colors. Question is, oh, actually no, that's not a question. I'm going to use these darker ones. But first, let's see if we can even get a hole through this fabric now. That's going to be very challenging. I'm going to eyeball where the middle is. I guess you could use an awl if you don't have a punch like this. Oh, that worked brilliantly. Look at that. Oh, these crocodiles are just amazing. And now we want this to line up, of course, here. So I will mark here so that they are on the same height. I will punch the second. Oh no, I can't do that. Honey, how did you do that? My crocodile won't reach this far. Okay, so I guess we're going to have to use an awl for this one anyway. I'm just going to make several holes right next to each other so that it's big enough for the eyelet to go in. I think I'll have to cut some of the fabric away as well. Okay, I hope that will work. So let's do the hard one first. Oh, wait. How am I gonna get the eyelet in? Honey, how did you do this? Can we bend this? I think that's still not gonna work. Oh no. Maybe if I bend it twice. Let's see. I don't think that's gonna work. Yeah, that's not working. Okay, let's do this one first then. That one should be no problem. This one is on there. Now, how do we do this one? Do we just bang it with a hammer maybe? Okay, I'm going to put some fabric underneath so I don't ruin my table. And then I'm just going to try to hammer that edge down. But of course the problem is it's not going to go like this to hold the fabric. Honey, how did you do this? This is crazy. Yeah, because this I think is just making it flat without securing it. I think my only option is to glue this on. I don't know how else to secure it. Please, if you have a better idea, I mean, it's too late for this one, but for the future, please let me know what might work better. This is not very satisfying. I mean, I think it will be fine. I think it will hold, but still, it's just not satisfying. This will be covered anyway by whatever bead I put there. Speaking of which, I should probably try to find a bead that's gonna work. So the bead obviously needs to have a hole big enough for this fabric to go through. I mean, this will work in any case. These might all be, well, let's try this one. This one's really cute. Okay, that was a fail. I did find these two, which would definitely work. I'm not sure that I'm loving these here. They are a fallback option. But then I had another idea. Why not use cogwheels? I think they would work. So I'm gonna put them through one side and then loop it through the other side. Make sure the ends are pretty much the same length. And then we need to stick both of the ends through the eyelet. Fingers crossed. Oh my goodness, this is pretty tight. Maybe my ribbons aren't the best choice, or my fabric is not the best choice. I had to admit defeat. These just were too bulky. There was no way they were gonna go through. So instead I used the last bit of my butterfly ribbon, which happened to be the perfect color and theme. Thank goodness. I wouldn't have had anything else that would have worked. It was still a struggle. Even with this, it was really a struggle. So this was definitely the biggest challenge of this cover. I ended up putting a new eyelet in and putting glue underneath because I'm just afraid it will come off with time. And as you can see, here is our cogwheel. So that's cute. And same thing here, the glue is not dry yet. So there's glue underneath here. And this is the inside with the cogwheel. So this is the spine where you would sew your signatures through, and this is how you close it. And the ribbon is quite long so that you can adjust it when the journal gets a little more chubby. But there's plenty of space. Yeah, that should be fine. I will not be able to show you the inside of this journal because I'm going to send this to someone else. So this is the last you will see of her. But I do hope you will make your own. It's the next day and I just had to share this cover that I had to get out of my system after making the other one. So this, I think I can say, is probably more my current style than the other one. But I'm still happy I made the other one because it was a good learning experience. So this is an upholstery fabric that I had left, and this is a beautiful ribbon that I had from Susanne from Bornhood Art. Danke, liebe Susanne. The color was just perfect, and inside is this off-white upholstery fabric, and the layers in between are 2 layers of paper bags, just like I did in the other one, and also 1 layer of bubble wrap. Because I have quite a lot of that at home and I didn't want to buy some extra filling. So I thought I would give that a try. Maybe you can listen. So it feels really nice and sturdy. So in total it has 5 layers, but it is still definitely bendable. And there's plenty of room for the signatures. And the ribbon I have going all the way through the journal, so there's no way that this is just going to tear off. And of course it's sewn here as well. And all the layers are glued, just like I did with the other journal. I just brushed the glue on so they won't come apart. And of course this binding is easier because you don't have to worry about getting your eyelets through. So yeah, just another piece of inspiration for you, if you so will. Thanks so much. Love you guys. Mwah! Mwah!